A day after the Republican defeat in the House in the midterm elections, Donald Trump has been back at some of his favourite pastimes, firing staff and abusing the media. Mr. Trump appeared to be in a sour mood following the Democrats' capture of the House of Representatives last night, though he talked up the Republicans' gain of at least 2 seats in the Senate. He fired Attorney General Jeff Sessions, mocked a number of losing Republican candidates who did not campaign for him, and created an extraordinary stoush with senior White House reporters. In the president's sights was CNN White House correspondent Jim Acosta, who filed this report just before the White House revoked his accreditation.
A news conference that was expected to be a victory lap for President Trump instead descended into chaos. While the president played coy and didn't tip his hand on his decision to fire Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
We're looking at different people for different positions. You know, it's very common after the midterms.
He was sounding off in nearly every other direction. Asked about Democrats riding the midterms into power in the House of Representatives, Mr. Trump bristled at the notion he will be under a slew of investigations, warning he'll retaliate.
They can play that game, but we can play it better, because we have a thing called the United States Senate, and a lot of very questionable things were done between leaks of classified information and many other elements that should not have taken place. And all you're going to do is end up in back and forth.
The president tried to sidestep what could be the biggest worry for the White House, that Democrats will demand to see his tax returns.
I'm on a very continuous audit because there are so many companies, and it is a very big company, far bigger than you would even understand. But it's a great company, but it's big, and it's complex, and it's probably feet high. It's a very complex instrument, and I think that people wouldn't understand it.
Mr. Trump was clearly taking the election returns personally, slapping at House Republicans who decided to steer clear of the president and lost.
Mia Love gave me no love, and she lost. Too bad. Sorry about that, Mia. And Barbara Comstock was another one. I mean, I think she could have won that race, but she didn't want to have any embrace.
Then Mr. Trump started taking swipes at journalists over questions about his false claim during the campaign that a migrant invasion was underway on the border.
They're hundreds of miles away, though. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let
would
me
be
ask,
much better.
if I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr.
President, that's enough.
Despite the pipe bomb sent to CNN and other Democratic politicians, the president returned to his favorite insults for the media.
Okay, just sit down, please. Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people.
The president also lashed out at reporters who simply asked why he considers himself a nationalist.
Why do I have among the highest poll numbers with African Americans? I mean, why do I have my highest poll numbers? That's such a racist question. Honestly, I mean, I know you have it written down and you're going to tell me. Let me tell you, it's a racist question.
And whether Mr. Trump is in fact a racist.
And I don't use racist remarks. And you know what? If I did, you would have known about it. I've been hearing there are tapes for years and years. There are tapes. Number one, I never worried about it because I never did. I never used racist remarks. I've never used racist remarks.
And that was CNN's White House correspondent Jim Acosta with that report. Just hours after that press conference, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders tweeted saying that Jim Acosta had been stripped of his press pass. She alleged that he touched a White House intern and went on to say that we will not tolerate the inappropriate behaviour. So what does the video show?
I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question.
The intern moves in at this point to take the mic from Acosta. She reaches for it once, he pulls back. She tries again to take the mic off him. He dodges that attempt as well. The third time, she threads her hand under his arm and reaches for the mic again. Their arms brush together, and That is as Acosta pulls his left hand back to take a hold of the mic, so he's holding it with both hands. Their arms touch for a nanosecond. CNN has put this response on its Twitter account, basically saying that Sarah Sanders has lied, they say. She provided fraudulent accusations and cited an incident that never happened, CNN says. They say it's an unprecedented decision and is a threat to the democracy of our country, and our country deserves better, they say. Jim Acosta has CNN's full support, they say, in that tweet that went out shortly afterwards.